Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be taking a look at Mesa Riverview, a very large shopping center thing in Mesa, Arizona. And I'm going to be real honest up front, I don't care for this place. Now, because this video is probably going to have a lot of negativity, I did at first want to just show something that's kind of awesome, which is right across the street, and that's the Riverview Park. This is a really huge park that's just absolutely beautiful. There's a big lake that meanders through it. This is really awesome and a fantastic use of space, and I love seeing this. Take a walk over here and we'll take a closer look at the lake. And I think this is where the lake starts from, is right here. I was trying to figure out a way to stick my camera in there, but I couldn't figure out a safe way to do it without possibly losing my camera. But yeah, this place is just gorgeous. There's a path that runs along the river thing that goes through the park, and there's, you know, playgrounds and sporting facilities and all that, and it's also very close to where the Cubs spring train at the new stadium that was built over here recently. It's a really big park too. But believe it or not, I think the shopping center right across the street is bigger than this place, and that's one of my problems with it. Okay, let's go ahead and head back over there to Mesa Riverview, the shopping center. This place is relatively new. Construction started in 2006 and stores started opening up in 2007. That is a lot of bird netting. I'm assuming that's what that's for. I don't see a lot of bird crap all over the place here, so that must be what's preventing that. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, this place is huge, and that's one of my biggest problems with it. It's way bigger than it needs to be, and it's just a huge waste of space. A lot of it looks like, you know, strip mall kind of things, but it's almost like a bunch of small strip malls clustered together. And then there's tons of big box stores here as well. Thankfully, there are maps and directories all throughout, so let's take a closer look and you can see what I'm talking about as far as how big this place is. So like I said, most of it is a lot of big box stores, some restaurants, big strip mall areas, and there is kind of one small, like, walkable outdoor mall type area that's over by the movie theater, which we'll see at the end of the video, and surprisingly that's my favorite part of this place. Or not surprisingly, I guess. Now, we did notice, you know, throughout the kind of strip mall areas, there are a lot of empty shops. Now, this giant shopping center as a whole is not dead, but there are large pockets of empty storefronts all throughout. And this promo art that they put up on all the empty storefronts just really kind of makes them stick out like a sore thumb. Looks like this one's been emptied long enough that they're using it for storage now. That looks like benches and garbage can things for the shopping center. Yeah, there's enough empty storefronts all throughout this that it just makes it feel like a giant waste of space. Like, this is way more retail space than this area would ever need. And this is not the only retail space in the area. As a matter of fact, 5 minutes away is Tempe Marketplace, another large outdoor mall shopping center type thing that I actually do like better than this one. It's not one of my favorites, but I think it makes more sense than Mesa Riverview does. And that's another thing I don't like, just large parts of this look like a strip mall. Now, normally in these type of videos I would walk you through the place, but this place is way too big to do that, so let's go for a drive. Now, all of this empty land we're seeing is part of this place, it just hasn't been filled out yet, and that's kind of been the story with this place. It never really filled out, and it's always had lots of empty storefronts since it opened. Just not at a level that you would call dead yet. But there's things like this, like Party City. That's a retailer that's been struggling. I don't know how much longer that's going to be there. I think it's pretty obvious when this place opened in 2007 that it was already too big and too much retail space for the area, and with the way that the retail climate is rapidly changing now, I think that's just going to become more obvious. I mean, here's another chunk of empty storefronts. That's actually a pretty big chunk there. Looks like there may have been some larger stores in there at some point. But then again, they've got a Bed Bath & Beyond. That's another retailer that's been struggling recently. Something I found really interesting when doing research on this place, and that I didn't know, is that in 2012, large portions of this place were demolished because it was too big and there was so many empty storefronts. Now, unfortunately, it sounds like they demolished some more of the interesting bits of it, more of the walkable mall area in the back. But what a waste. And the city had to kind of closely monitor all of that, because it turns out the city gave the developers an $80 million tax incentive to build this place originally. So again, all of this just seems colossally wasteful. Now, since they've demolished this place, they've actually built more stuff again here. So again, more waste. I just really don't like these kind of shopping centers, and unfortunately the owners, Kimco Realty, are the same ones that own Christown Spectrum Mall, and I think it's this kind of thing but on a smaller scale that they want to do there. Which makes me really sad. Now we're at the back of the property, and this area is much more walkable. Now technically it's all walkable, but nobody's gonna walk this like a mall. I mean, people like me and people that watch this channel might do that, but for the most part, people are gonna drive around from the different larger big box stores, which again sucks for the environment. But this area is kind of more like a traditional outdoor mall. And from what I understand, there was more of this originally, but it was demolished, unfortunately. Now, this building here to the left is a new place called the Revelry, which it says coming soon here, but they were just getting ready to open when I filmed this. And this place actually looks really neat, and I don't know if you noticed, but that's a DeLorean back there behind the fence. But this is kind of one of those entertainment centers. They've got a retro arcade, a sports bar. These are the kind of things that they've been adding to malls that I think can actually help. Especially once everything with the pandemic calms down, I think people are going to be looking for stuff to do, and this is going to attract people, hopefully, to the back area of this shopping center, because like I said, this is the part that I actually kind of like. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of vacancies back here as well, but it is kind of pretty. I will give it that. It was a beautiful day while we were filming too. This area definitely reminds me more of outdoor malls like Santan Village, which is another one that I've covered on this channel not too long ago. But to me, I don't like outdoor malls as much as traditional ones, but this is preferable to just a sea of big box stores and little miniature strip malls, which is what the whole front of Mesa Riverview is. Man, it was really quiet back here. I wish I would have seen this place before they had demolished all of the walking mall part of it. Unfortunately, I just never really paid much attention to this place because I had just assumed from the little bit that I saw that it was just a bunch of big box stores and was super boring, and so I didn't really care about it and I never really ventured towards the back. A big thing that I think they could have done differently that may have been more successful is to put this outdoor mall portion of it towards the front of the property and then put the big box stores and everything behind that. I just can't believe enough people thought that this place was a good idea in 2006 that it actually got built, especially knowing that Tempe Marketplace was going in practically right next door. And also by 2006, there were a lot of dead and dying malls and shopping centers already that it should have been pretty obvious that not nearly as much retail space was going to be needed in the future. Now here's something I haven't seen in a long time, a Boy Scout shop. I knew that there used to be one of these in Mesa. It was in a dead shopping center that Mark and I did a live stream from. If you don't subscribe to my second channel, that's where Mark and I do a lot of live streams and things like that. So if you're interested in seeing that kind of stuff, you should subscribe to the RA2 channel, and I'll put a link down in the description. At the end of this outdoor mall area, there is a Cinemark movie theater, which is actually pretty neat. It's Art Deco themed, and I like it quite a bit. We'll take a closer look at it here shortly. And there is a fountain right there, kind of. It doesn't look like it's in the best working order. Yeah, I don't think this is quite working all the way. It would be pretty neat though if it was. Of course, I have to try and get some sort of fountain cam shot, I guess, out of this. Plus, it was getting a little warm, so it was nice to cool off here for a second. Yeah, that's technically a fountain cam shot. I'm calling it. Now here's a closer look at the theater, and I love that. That's probably my favorite thing in this entire shopping center is that movie theater. Even down here though, there were quite a bit of vacancies. Those donuts look pretty good in that picture, but there is actually something better than donuts over here, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Do you see what I mean about this leasing artwork that's on the vacant stores? I just think it makes them stick out like a sore thumb and makes them more obvious. This is the place I was talking about that's better than donuts, though. This is Arizona Chimney Cake, which I've never heard of a chimney cake before, but holy crap, do they look good. Now, I say look good because Mark had one, but I didn't. I actually hadn't eaten anything yet when we got here, and there was no way I could eat this on an empty stomach and not be sick. So a chimney cake is a sweet bread that's like in the shape of a cone, and it's crispy on the outside and doughy on the inside, and then they'll roll it in things like cinnamon, coconut, stuff like that, and then they'll fill it with fruit and like soft serve ice cream, and it's absolutely fantastic. I did have a little taste of the doughy bread part, and that was amazing, but yeah, there was no way I could eat this one of those whole things on an empty stomach. I did have a cup of coffee though. That I can do on an empty stomach. I'm pretty much powered by coffee. So if you're ever at Mesa Riverview and you make it all the way back to where the movie theater is, I would definitely recommend Arizona Chimney Cakes, but for dessert, not for lunch. Now let's take a closer look at the Cinemark Theater, because this is one of my favorite things here. At the time this was filmed, the theater was closed due to the pandemic, but it is now open. Now that I've had a chance to closely look at Mesa Riverview, it'll be interesting to see what happens with it in the future. To me, this place just seems like a giant monument to overbuilt retail. I don't think brick and mortar retail stores are ever going to completely go away, but I think it's blatantly obvious that we have way more retail space than we need. Hopefully, there aren't plans to build more places like this all over the place, because I just think they're very wasteful. I think a better use for this would have been apartments and condos, and I don't mean $500,000 luxury condos, but actual affordable housing. Lack of affordable housing is a problem in the Phoenix area, and I imagine it's a problem all across the United States as well. Also, hopefully this place is a lesson to other cities when it comes to giving developers tens of millions of dollars in tax incentives to build things that a couple decades later may not benefit the city at all. What are your thoughts on Mesa Riverview though? Do you enjoy this place, or do you think it's kind of a waste of land like I do? I'd love to know down in the comments below. And also one last thing, I didn't really cover this in the video, but there is also a huge Bass Pro Shop here, which this place is kind of neat, and I've thought about doing a video covering Bass Pro Shops, but I just don't know if people on the channel would find that interesting. So if you'd like to see a video on Bass Pro Shop's outdoor world, also let me know that down in the comments below. As always everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my video on Mesa Riverview, the place that I feel like is a colossal waste of space. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow me at the social media links down there, because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel.